Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with meteorologist Adam Joseph, Deuces Rogers, Shari Williams, and Brian Taff.
Across the sprawling Houston metro area, pleas for help. The rain from now tropical storm Harvey is relentless. It is pounding the nation's fourth largest city and has no plans to leave anytime soon. As the waters continue to rise, so does the number of those who have not survived. 7 people are confirmed dead as Harvey hammers Houston, and now flood fears are expanding into Louisiana.
It is Monday night, and the big story on Action News tonight is the historic rainfall that's prompted ever-rising water in parts of Texas. As some towns sort through the devastation of Harvey's landfall, the Houston metro faces catastrophic flooding. In fact, Houston's mayor says 1,000 people have been rescued in just the last 8 hours alone.
The White House says President Trump and First Lady Melania will travel to Texas tomorrow, but not to the Houston area, which is expecting even more rain. We have live team coverage tonight on the devastation in and around Houston. Meteorologist Adam Joseph is tracking the storm's latest path, and Christy Aletto has more on how people in the Delaware Valley are pitching in to help victims.
But first tonight to ABC's Lana Zach in Houston now with the very latest.
The situation here in Houston continues to be very serious. There are air rescues going on right now and water rescues. The mayor says that that is the most urgent need right now, trying to get people out of those rising floodwaters. And as they've been relieving the reservoirs and relieving some of that pressure off of the dams, there is an increased risk of flooding.
America's fourth largest city is underwater. More rain to come, 4 feet of rain predicted in some areas. People standing on top of submerged mailboxes. This interstate in Houston now a river. This is Hobby Airport before Harvey and now. The catastrophe about to get worse. The Army Corps of Engineers now releasing water from dams that are filling up too fast. People living downriver told to evacuate. The Texas governor activating the entire National Guard, ordering 9,000 more troops to assist the 3,000 already on the ground. Rescue operations continuing around the clock. Hundreds of rescuers in boats, helicopters, and trucks saving animals and people from rising floodwaters.
And around 6 a.m., something fell off one of the nightstands, woke us up, and water was coming in fast.
Shelters filling up rapidly.
More than 2,900 people seeking refuge at the George Brown Convention Center and receiving some cheer from Batman and his son.
When a city needs a hero, I mean, we got to be here. We got to help this city.
And more continue to come. Evacuees showing up at hotels only to find that there are no more rooms.
If this hotel will just give us a room. I think they have convention people coming in with reservations.
Meanwhile, some try to take advantage of the terrible situation, preying on abandoned homes and businesses. One shop owner asking for help, posting this image from his security camera of looters going unpunished.
And I want to show you the situation here at the convention center. This is the single largest place for people who have been affected by Tropical Storm Harvey to come. They have been coming in here by the thousands, literally all day. We have seen so many people, families. They come in here, they get a towel, they register themselves. Originally, this shelter was only supposed to hold 5,000 people, but that was quickly filled to capacity. But still, they don't want to send anyone back out there into the rain, so the Red Cross says they will continue to accept people as long as they can. Reporting from Houston, Lana Zach.
Well, the monster storm turning down in the southwestern part of the country is unfortunately going nowhere fast. Harvey is expected to meander along the Gulf Coast for at least 2 more days. Let's turn to meteorologist Adam Joseph with more on the slow track and the torrential rainfall amounts, Adam.
Yeah, and the rainfall has only increased in intensity in real estate here this evening. It is moving at about 3 miles an hour. The center of the low is just to the south of Houston here, and you can see the heavy rains now extending all the way back into New Orleans with these feeder bands coming in and wrapping around that storm. And the heaviest of the rain is over Houston right now. As you can see, the bright red colors continuing to pinwheel off of the Gulf of Mexico. It is nonstop at this point and only intensifying. And if we take a look at the rainfall in perspective here over the last 4 days, on average, the city, which is about 650 square miles wide, 30 inches of rain has fallen. That's 339 billion gallons of water that has fallen over the city of Houston. And if you look at it in the form of the water that flows over Niagara Falls, that is 5 days worth of water that flows over the falls in 4 days. So a tremendous amount of water and still a lot more to come as the storm is going to slowly meander near Houston and finally kick its way out to the north and east into the Tennessee Valley. But that is not until Thursday. So they have all day tomorrow, all day Wednesday still to deal with on and off heavy rain, not only in southeastern parts of Texas, but now extending over towards New Orleans, where they're expecting another 7 inches of rain over the next 3 days, and Houston adding 8 to possibly 12 inches of rain over the next few days, and then extending north towards Little Rock, where they'll pick up close to 5 inches of rain. So that will top off parts of southeastern Texas. Nearly 50 inches of rain or more when all is said and done, Brian. We'll have much more in our local forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Adam, see you shortly. Yeah. Thank you. In the wake of Hurricane Harvey and the dangerous storm that continues, people in the Delaware and Lehigh Valleys have been scrambling to help those impacted by the devastation. Action News reporter Christy Aletto live tonight in Old City, and she spoke to one little boy who's doing his outsized part. Christy.
Well, Brian, Jet is from Houston, but now lives here in Philadelphia, and worried about his family back home, he decided to give back by manning a lemonade stand in his neighborhood. Yes, help is coming from a 5-year-old donning a Superman's cape and a Texans hat.
Here you go, buddy. I don't need anything. I just want to make a donation.
He's 5 and open for business.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
What are you doing today?
Doing a lemonade and sweet tea stand.
For what?
Texas.
His sign reads 50 cents a cup to help those affected by Hurricane Harvey, a storm that's hit home for this Houstonian now living in Old City.
Jet was a little concerned the past few days, and you know, his grandparents, we've been able to talk to them, luckily. We were just trying to think of things we could do to help, and we feel so far away.
No, you can take it off. Don't, no change.
And his mission to help has others going out of their way to step up too.
Thank you, ma'am.
To see these young men take his, his love of wanting to help somebody to this magnitude, that's amazing. That fills you with hope.
Across the river, the Marlton Elks is collecting donations every night this week at their lodge on Eveboro Medford Road, specifically toiletries that they will then drive down to Houston.
There's a lot of people going to be in shelters for weeks at a time.
Need that.
There's soaps in here, there's shampoos people clean themselves with because they have basically nothing down there.
The Delaware Valley is stepping up to help.
Here you go. Here's $3.
Even when help comes from a 5-year-old wearing a Texans hat and Superman cape.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Jet will be out again tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 in front of his home selling the lemonade and sweet tea. He and his mom plan to give all of their proceeds to the American Red Cross later this week. Live in Old City, Christy Aletto for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Brian?
All right, an impressive young man. We wish him all the best tomorrow. Christy, thank you. You can also help ease the burden of those affected by Harvey by making a donation to the Red Cross. The number is 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can text the word Harvey to 90999 and automatically send a $10 donation. Right now, they are only accepting monetary donations for the unfolding situation there in southeastern Texas. And still ahead here tonight on Action News at 10, hear from Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Marcus Johnson, who is here while his family tries to cope back home in Texas. His powerful and emotional message to loved ones straight ahead. You can find that information along with our comprehensive coverage on 6abc.com/Harvey. You can also watch live streaming coverage from our sister station KTRK in Houston.
Here closer to home, there is new information tonight about a deadly crash involving a Pennsylvania state trooper. A new report says a trooper was at fault when his cruiser collided with a garbage truck, killing him back in July. Investigators say the cruiser's speed, as well as wet conditions and fog, contributed to the crash. 26-year-old trooper Michael Stewart was killed in that crash in Westmoreland County on July 14th. A second trooper in the car suffered a concussion. Police say no one will be cited or charged. The garbage truck driver was not hurt. Also new tonight, a Salem County, New Jersey mom is behind bars after police say she left her 2-year-old daughter unattended for hours in her car seat. Prosecutors say Deanna Joseph from Alloway Township of of being high on drugs during the incident. They say she called 911 Saturday night to report her child as unresponsive. They say it appears the child might have injured herself in the car seat. The exact cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner's office.
The Philadelphia Archdiocese is still trying to total up how much a bank employee allegedly stole from donations meant for the church. In a letter to parishioners, the church says the donations were taken from the Catholic Charities Appeal and the Seminary Appeal. TD Bank has a contract to handle donations sent to a post office box. It's believed the thief was looking for cash. An alert parishioner noticed that her check was never cashed.
I'm surprised. I don't know, maybe the person was desperate for money. I don't know why a person would do that, but the person should definitely give the money back, because I know a lot of that money helps the Catholic priests and it helps the poor people out.
Now, a TD Bank employee has been fired and charged with theft. The Archdiocese has set up a call center for people with questions about this. The number there, 1-866-812-8700. Road closures are already in effect tonight ahead of the Made in America Music Festival this coming weekend. Drone 6 flew over Aikens Oval this afternoon. 2 lanes around the oval in front of the Art Museum are shut down for stage construction. Spring Garden Street between Pennsylvania Avenue and the Ben Franklin Parkway is also closed. More closures will gradually take effect throughout the week to make room for 5 different stages. More than 60 artists will perform during the festival over Labor Day weekend.
I'm sure a lot of people will be there for that.
No doubt.
Still ahead on Action News, breaking tonight, North Korea has done it again, and this time Japan is in the line of fire. We'll have the details.
And President Trump is heading to the disaster zone tomorrow. Today he spoke about the devastation in Texas for the first time.
Plus, a pregnant woman in Texas went into labor just as the worst of Hurricane Harvey battered Corpus Christi.
And meteorologist Adam Joseph back with a full AccuWeather forecast. But Action News at 10 comes right back tonight. In what's being called an aggressive message of defiance, North Korea has fired another test missile, this one in the direction of a close U.S. ally. That was the eerie sound of air raid sirens in northern Japan today. Minutes after North Korea fired a ballistic missile that flew over that country, it eventually landed in the northern Pacific Ocean. Now, the launch comes as the U.S. and South Korea engage in war games nearby. That's a practice that North Korea has historically responded to with anger. Back here at home now, and back to the crisis wrought by a storm named Harvey. President Trump made his first public comments about that situation today. The president sent a message of support to people of Texas and Louisiana as they suffer from historic rain and flooding from the hurricane. Mr. Trump said that protecting American lives is his top priority and that every asset of the federal government is at the disposal of officials there on the ground.
We've pledged our full support as Texas and Louisiana battle and recover from this very devastating and historic storm. There's probably never been anything like this.
Now, the president is scheduled to visit Texas tomorrow to tour some of the storm-ravaged areas.
There have been many emotional moments throughout this catastrophic flooding event. A Houston news crew helped rescue a pregnant woman who went into labor in the middle of the storm. Our sister station, ABC 13, was there for part of her scary ordeal. It began this morning when she became stranded by high water, and then her contractions began. Fortunately, reporter Chauncey Glover was on a boat in the area covering the storm. Well, he kept the pregnant woman calm as he brought her out of the flooding and got her into a public works van, which then took her to an awaiting ambulance. Well, tonight we know that mom delivered a healthy baby boy. She posted this picture on social media and thanked the firefighters and officers and hopefully those reporters who helped her get through those high flood waters.
It is so heartwarming and necessary to see stories like that
Right.
amid so much suffering. And I suspect, Adam, that we've not even seen the worst of what we're going to see out of Texas because crews, television crews, rescue crews just can't get there yet.
And the waters are still rising, and they're higher than they were at the beginning of the storm because they had a little bit of a break and then all this water coming back up and more rainfall intensifying, so they have another at least day of this heavy rain before they start to see a break. But back at home, it's all quiet here. We have a chilly wind out of the east-northeast live on Sky 6 over Center City. You see a little shake or a little bounce at times here, and that wind will only increase as we go into the day tomorrow, especially for our shore towns. So rain will be developing as well, especially south to the northern part of the city of Philadelphia. Lehigh Valley, you may eke out dry during the day tomorrow, but cool and breezy. That wind at the coast, 45 miles an hour at times tomorrow, and then it turns much warmer. By Wednesday, Thursday, we are back in the 80s. Right now, there is that chill in the air. 65 in Allentown, 63 Trenton, 69 Beach Haven, 67 Wilmington and Dover, settling at 66 degrees. Satellite and radar, we had high clouds come in early on in the day. But you can see the rain just lurking to the south here, right on the Virginia, North Carolina border. There was a spin right here. That is some circulation that's trying to get together and will kick its way just off of the North Carolina coast and possibly could become Tropical Storm Irma. Has a 60% chance over the next 48 hours of becoming a tropical storm. But as you can see, the track, the cone of uncertainty, keeps it narrow, which is a good consistency on the models, kicking it well to our south as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. But it is going to churn up the waters and it's going to bring some rain for parts of the area. So there is a high surf advisory for the day tomorrow into the day on Wednesday. Waves 6 to 10 feet, creating some beach erosion. Also high risk for rip currents, and with that water piling up, there even could be some back bay flooding as well. Wind advisory down at the shore tomorrow, winds gusting again 40 to 45 miles an hour. Future tracker showing it is cloudy everywhere. There you can see some of that light rain from Dover to Millville in the morning, spreads off to the north here, and there we start to see Millville, Atlantic City, Dover, some of those pops of yellows, which could be some torrential rain at times. And then by tomorrow night, it starts to move away, and by Wednesday, that sunshine is returning. We'll have much more in the 7-day forecast coming up, Shari, in the next half hour.
All right, Adam, thank you. Well, this was a proud night for 80 students at the Hardy Williams Elementary in Southwest Philadelphia. They were inducted into a new honor society, the first for elementary students in the Mastery Charter School system. It recognizes them for being good scholars and responsible members of their school community. A big congratulations to all of them.
On Health Check at 10 o'clock tonight, side effects after a child's vaccination might make parents wary of future shots, but a new study should put them at ease. It found that the chances of serious side effects the second time are less than 1%. The report was based on research conducted over the past 30 years. Study leaders say if your child had a reaction once, talk to your doctor about it, but don't swear off giving it a second chance.
Time now for sports. Deuces Rogers joining us, and looks like the Eagles are trading away a fan favorite.
Yeah, this was a surprise. I did not see this one coming at all. The Eagles traded a long snapper, fan favorite, and all-around good guy Jon Dorenbos to the New Orleans Saints tonight. In exchange, the Birds receive a 2019 7th-round draft pick. Dorenbos was the longest tenured athlete in Philadelphia. The 37-year-old had been with the Eagles since the 2006 season. General Manager Howie Roseman calls it, quote, one of the most difficult decisions we've had to make, end quote. Rick Lovato, who has appeared in a total of 6 NFL games, will take Dorenbos' place as the team's long snapper. Nick Foles returned to practice today. He's been in and out of practice for a few weeks with an elbow injury. The Birds are prepping for Thursday's preseason finale against the Jets. The starters will likely sit that one out. They don't want to get anybody hurt. That raises the question, why have 4 preseason games anyway?
It's always going to be an argument. It's like, what do you prefer? I think the fans love it. It's an opportunity for them to, you know, see guys in person, and tickets are a little bit cheaper for preseason games. So, but it has its benefits. But you know, for most players, you know, just they want to get tuned up. But obviously, you know, there's always that risk.
All right, from the Eagles to the Phillies, while Jon Dorenbos departs, another athlete is just beginning his Philadelphia run, and what a run it's been for Rhys Hoskins. The Phillies rookie has hit 11 home runs in his 18 games. Phils and Braves, no homers for Hoskins tonight. He's slacking, but he does double in Nick Williams here in the 6th inning. Hoskins goes 2 for 4. The Phillies win 6-1. They are 12-2 against Atlanta this season. If they can just play them every single night,
right?
Yeah,
they own the Braves. Yeah.
Awesome. The hottest athlete in Philadelphia. Good stuff. Deuces, thanks. More Action News at 10 coming up right after this.
Action News at 10:30 on PHL 17 continues with Deuces Rogers, meteorologist Adam Joseph, Shari Williams, and Brian Taff.
Hello again, 10:30 now. We begin with a recap of the big story we're following right here on Action News at 10 tonight.
The greater Houston area remains paralyzed tonight. More than 6 million people have been advised to shelter in place and stay off the roads as the flooding disaster continues to unfold. 2 to 3 feet of rain has already fallen in parts of the Lone Star State. Water rescue teams, assisted by ordinary citizens, are transporting swamped residents. Houston's mayor says more than 3,000 people have been rescued by first responders since Harvey inundated the city. 1,000 have been rescued in the 8 hours alone.
Just staggering numbers. And right now at 10:30, with Hurricane Harvey dumping unprecedented levels of rain on Houston, massive flooding has trapped some people inside their homes. We spoke with a New Jersey native who's currently stuck in his third-floor apartment in the city of Houston.
Action News reporter Dan Cuellar live now in the Satellite Center with that story tonight. Dan.
Now get this, guys. The South Jersey native and his fiance had just moved to Houston last month on the 4th of July. They've been through snowstorms, blizzards, nor'easters, and maybe some of those survival skills kicked in that are helping them deal with Harvey.
It's been nonstop. And it's not just drizzling, it's torrential downpours nonstop.
29-year-old Andrew Rebel and his fiancee, 27-year-old Megan Evans, left Biltmore, New Jersey to start a new chapter in their lives in the Bayou City of Houston. He says they've never seen so much rain that's lasted 3 days, almost nonstop.
In terms of a prolonged event like this, I've never experienced anything like this.
Their years of going through snowstorms and blizzards instinctively made them stock up on plenty of food and water. And so far, floodwaters have not reached their third-floor apartment in South Houston near Interstate 45, the Gulf Freeway.
The street that leads up to 45 was just littered with vehicles that had broken down. There is debris, mud, deceased animals all over the roadways. Seeing the streets with the deceased animals, that was upsetting, especially for my fiance.
The electrical engineer who just graduated from Drexel says due to floodwaters, they would not be able to get beyond a half-mile radius of their place at the Windwater and Windmill Lakes apartments. And now, because of the unrelenting wrath of Harvey, he says it looks like a lake outside their window.
There were just so many unknowns and so many variables that made me a little nervous. But, we're nearing the end of it now, so I'm pretty confident the worst has passed. But it was a little worrisome.
And finally, I asked if the storm had happened before they moved there, would they have done it? He thought about it for a little while, and then he said, despite everything they've been through, yes. Live in the Sat Center, I'm Dan Cuellar. Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
Quite the story. Dan, thank you. And Philadelphia is continuing to reach out to help the victims of Harvey's devastation. The local Red Cross has 9 volunteers in Texas, with 2 more on the way. The agency urges anyone who wants to help to give blood or money, but not material things.
Those things have to be cleaned, sorted, and shipped. That takes personnel, and it takes resources that detract us from our dominant mission.
The Philadelphia Red Cross call center has already handled 13,000 calls from Texas. The Better Business Bureau urges caution about the many crowdfunding efforts that are happening online. To get the very latest, of course, you can go to our website to learn more about the legitimate organizations that you can donate to.
All right, let's bring in meteorologist Adam Joseph now. And Adam, as we see this rain falling in buckets over Houston, it's unbelievable to think that the center of the storm is now back out over the Gulf, re-energizing.
Yeah, and when it's over the waters, it can actually grab even more moisture, and that's what it's doing here tonight, wrapping around that circulation. So we go over to the Weather Center because you can see here on Storm Tracker 6 live double scan the remnants of Harvey, which again is still a tropical storm, is just to the south and east and exactly south of Houston here at this point. And there's the circulation. So with that circulation, again, you get all those winds to wrap in around it. So you're getting these feeder bands that continue to come in around the storm as far east as New Orleans, western Louisiana, now getting inundated with rounds of rain over the same locations. But then you look at Houston, and Houston is just a bright red area with that torrential rain that will not stop, and that will continue into the day tomorrow. So as we look at Tropical Storm Harvey, it is 55 miles east of Port O'Connor, Texas. So yes, it is over the open waters. Should not strengthen when you talk about the winds. The winds right now 45 miles an hour, so it's not going to turn back into a hurricane. but the movement is just painfully slow here at 3 miles an hour and will just drift over the open waters of the Gulf near Houston for another 24 to 36 hours before it starts to lift into Louisiana, but not until Thursday afternoon, and then heading into Tennessee as we get into the upcoming weekend. So expecting another 8 to as much as 12 inches of rain in parts of Texas as well as Louisiana. At home, we are chilly at this point. 65 degrees right now in Allentown and Redding, 54 in the Poconos, and upper 60s Philadelphia down to the south. The clouds are here, and they're here to stay right through the day tomorrow. Some rain down to the south, and this is all associated with a low pressure trying to wind up near Charleston, South Carolina, extending into the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And this circulation could, again, turn into what may become Tropical Storm Irma. We'll just have to see if it can get its act together. Nonetheless, it brings a lot of clouds tomorrow, on and off rain, Philly down to the south, a very stiff wind out of the east-northeast, 10 to 20 miles an hour, keeping temps tomorrow only in the upper 60s. Here is a snapshot of Future Tracker 8 in the morning. Some showers in far southern areas. Most of us have a dry start tomorrow morning. In the afternoon, showers do extend just to the north and west of Philadelphia, with heavy rain at the shore at times, and even southern and central parts of Delaware starts to move out and break apart tomorrow evening, and then the sun is back on Wednesday. The setup here, high pressure to the north, that is protecting us from the storm moving directly up the coast. But what it's also doing is creating a wind tunnel effect between the two systems. So shore wind gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour, rain up to an inch or more south and east of the city tomorrow, with waves 6 to 10 feet, rip currents, and also beach erosion, as well as some flooding. As we look at the exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast, breezy with that afternoon rain developing, especially the city's south at 70 degrees. Early morning clouds Wednesday, break for sun in the afternoon of 80. It is warm, tad humid Thursday ahead of a cold front, 85 with a late day thunderstorm. But then that front means business, ushering in cooler, drier weather Friday at 74. And right now there will be a round of rain between Saturday and Sunday. The timing is still up in the air, so can't promise a dry Labor Day weekend. But right now, Labor Day itself looking to be the best day of the three, with temps in the upper 70s.
Okay.
All right.
We'll get something out of it.
Okay. Yeah,
Thanks, Adam.
All right.
Well, be sure to check out 6abc.com/Harvey for the latest information coming out of Texas. Plus, watch the live broadcast from our sister station, ABC 13 in Houston, plus view photos and videos from the flood zone. New tonight, 2 women dressed as nuns, also carrying handguns, tried to rob a bank in the Poconos today. The attempted holdup happened at Citizens Bank near Tannersville just after 12 noon. Authorities say 2 women showed the tellers a handgun but left without taking anything. Police believe one of the tellers activated the automatic alarm and scared the 2 women off. Pocono Township police officers initially responded to the call, but now the FBI has taken over the investigation.
From our New Jersey newsroom tonight, Atlantic City police have now identified the man murdered near the Casino District last night. 27-year-old Deshaun Dawkins was fatally shot along South Virginia Avenue at about 9:30 last night. An autopsy was performed today. Right now, investigators have not said anything about a suspect or a motive. New Jersey police are hoping a new surveillance photo will lead them to the vandal who damaged half of their department's cruisers. Police say this is the man who allegedly slashed 52 tires on police vehicles parked at the Summerdale Municipal Building in Camden County. Now, that image was taken at a nearby Wawa a few hours after yesterday's incident. Officials say the actions of just one criminal could have put the entire community in danger.
Substantially disabled, our ability to respond, and when we had cars, but if we had a major incident happen, half our fleet's out of service. But now we're a little better today than we were yesterday.
Well, police are working right now to get all the vehicles fixed and quickly back in service.
Montgomery County residents gathered tonight in Norristown to rally against hate and bigotry. They joined the NAACP, religious leaders, and elected officials to condemn the racist violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. Speaker after speaker urged those listening to take a stand and defend the rights of every American. They also denounced the White House for what they call ignoring the rule of law and also ignoring America's heritage as a melting pot.
And still ahead here on Action News tonight, a slain civil rights activist was honored in his hometown today. We'll have the details. Plus, a German nurse is accused of killing dozens in her care.
And the Eagles player with a personal connection to Houston. Those stories and more when Action News at 10 continues. Officials in Germany say a nurse who was convicted of killing patients by giving them too much heart medication has many more victims. Niles Hogel was convicted of 2 murders and 2 attempted murders back in 2015. Police in Germany today said that they have evidence that Hogel killed 84 other people. The evidence came to light after Hogel was convicted of attempted murder in a different case. Officials warn the scope of the murders could get even bigger because some of Hogel's victims were cremated.
A new statue of slain civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was unveiled in front of the Georgia State Capitol in Atlanta. A large crowd of dignitaries, citizens, and family members were on hand. King's youngest daughter, Bernice, said the statue provides a sense of hope to a nation in turmoil as many across the country debate the fate of Confederate statues. Today also marks the 54th anniversary of Dr. King's historic I Have a Dream speech.
Many people in our area have connections to people living in the flood zone tonight, and that includes Eagles wide receiver Marcus Johnson. His entire extended family lives in Houston. Now, Action News reporter Walter Perez has his powerful message.
23-year-old Marcus Johnson has been making a real name for himself, and he sure helped his own cause with this grab last Thursday.
Back corner, got it there, touchdown!
Scoring a touchdown against the Dolphins in preseason play. But over the past few days, he admits staying focused has been a challenge.
My godmother, both of her homes flooded, and then I had other family in Dickinson that had flooded in their homes. So it's a tough situation.
In fact, Johnson says his entire extended family lives in Texas, with most of them residing in the Houston area. He says the only comfort he's felt through this ordeal is the generous response from different organizations and everyday people, not to mention J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans.
I definitely want to donate whatever I can do to help. I know J.J. Watt started a funding. I saw that the actual owner of the Texans donated $1 million to the city, so, you know, anything to contribute can help.
Johnson was a star at the University of Texas before spending time on the Eagles practice squad last year. Only now, though, has he really grabbed the attention of the Eagles coaching staff. That's why he says he's especially heartbroken, knowing that the people who helped him improve himself and improve his game are in trouble.
I train in Houston this whole offseason. A lot of close people who've helped me get my game to where it is right now, and to be able to do the things that I'm doing, you know, they're struggling. Training facilities, homes, really people that are close to me.
And as he fights for a roster spot with the Birds, his plan is to simply do anything he can possibly do to help the community that he calls home.
I'm strong in my faith. I'm going to continue to pray for them, and when I get the opportunity to go back, whenever that may be, I definitely want to help people rebuild homes, whatever I can do to just give back to the community.
Walter Perez for Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
Like Marcus, as other Texans come to grips with the enormity of the devastation they're facing, it's the stories of survival that are bringing so much hope tonight. While countless victims have lost their belongings, their resilience will see them through. And here are some of their stories in their own words.
I lost everything, and it just wiped me out. And this is my first hurricane. I felt like Wizard of Oz, man. I was scared. I've seen a lot of things, but that terrifies me.
Mind-blowing. I didn't realize it was this bad. We lifted stuff and as high as we could, but I mean, it was for nothing. We tried this, but that's okay. It's just stuff.
We've been waiting for the Coast Guard helicopter. It picked up some of our neighbors. Some of our neighbors are still back there on the rooftops. We saw the boat come by first, and we took the first chance we could get out of there.
It was over 5 feet in our house. We barely made it out. I'm just so grateful that they came.
In consumer news tonight, Amazon kicked off its first day as the owner of Whole Foods by slashing prices. In New York today, a half gallon of milk was 50 cents cheaper. Ground beef was down by $2 a pound, and an organic avocado cost $1 less. Beyond lowering prices on food, it also means Whole Foods brands will be available on Amazon's site.
I've been trying to think about it. There are a few Eagles more iconic, or at least well-liked in this town, active players, Then John Dorenbos. Tonight we say goodbye.
Just checking social media tonight, you could tell how much he was loved by the fans. Popular both with the fans and his teammates, good at his craft and an all-around great guy. John Dorenbos gave it his all here. Tonight, though, he is no longer an Eagle. The Birds have traded Dorenbos to the New Orleans Saints for a 2019 7th-round draft pick. The 37-year-old long snapper was the longest tenured athlete in Philadelphia. He had been here since 2006. Owner Jeffrey Lurie calls Dorenbos, quote, one of the most inspiring people I have ever known, end quote. Rick Lovato, who has appeared in a total of 6 NFL games, will take Dorenbos' place as the long snapper. Nick Foles was back at practice this morning. He has missed a ton of time this past month while dealing with elbow issues. The Eagles are drawing closer to cut-down day. There aren't many more opportunities to impress the coaching staff.
You train hard, you work hard, the whole offseason, the whole training camp, so you just go out there and cut it loose. You know a lot of teams are looking. It's a bittersweet time for players and coaches. You know, we all get very close. We spend 6 months grinding it out together, and the reality is after this game, you know, some of it gets broken up. So you're excited for the season, bittersweet, but we want everyone to, we want to have a good, positive showing on Thursday.
And now to the Phillies, specifically Rhys Hoskins. The rookie has been on a tear to start his major league career, 11 home runs in 18 games. Phils and Braves, Hoskins back at his original position, first base. We'll get to him in a moment. First, Aaron Nola. He struggled with his command his last 2 starts, not tonight. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. More importantly, no walks. Now Hoskins, this is an RBI double in the 6th inning. No homers for him tonight. He goes 2 for 4. The Phillies win 6-1.
I'm not mad. I told him I wasn't mad at him, but, a double was okay. If you're not going to hit a home run, I'll take a double.
All right. No Flyer will ever wear the number 88 again. Eric Lindros is having his sweater retired. The team will hold the ceremony January 18th at the Wells Fargo Center. That's when number 88 will be raised to the rafters. Lindros spent 8 seasons here. He tallied 659 points. Last year, he was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Lindros will be the 6th Flyer to have his number retired. The Sixers have given Elton Brand a promotion. He has been named general manager of the Delaware 87ers. The U.S. Open is underway in Queens, New York. Venus Williams checks in as the 8th seed. She's facing Victoria Kuzmova. It's a little tougher than she may have expected, but Venus does win in 3 sets. She is a 2-time winner at the U.S. Open. That's a look at sports.
A little pirouette going on.
Very nice.
Thank you, Deuces. One of Philadelphia's favorite sons, actor, comedian Kevin Hart, is now calling on all his fellow celebrity friends to help the relief effort for victims of Hurricane Harvey.
I'm challenging a lot of my celebrity friends to follow my lead in donating $25,000 to Hurricane Harvey, to the Red Cross, okay? At this point, this is a serious matter. I think the people are in bad shape and they need help. I'm going to lead the charge and stepping up in this way.
Well, he went on to challenge by name The Rock, Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, a long list of other big-name celebrities, and encourage others to keep the trend going. Hart says there has been many other meaningless challenges on the internet. He said this one is very meaningful. All right, Adam, how about that wake-up forecast?
Yeah.
Sleep in?
Having cold?
Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be one of those days as we take a look here. As we go into your Tuesday, lots of clouds from start to finish and a chilly wind out of the east-northeast, 65 at 8 o'clock in the morning, barely cracking 70 in the city, and on and off rain as we get into the afternoon, especially in the city. Points to the south where it'll be heavier. And again, at the shore, there's a wind advisory, high surf advisory, a nasty day at the shore tomorrow. So pack the umbrella no matter where you go for some of those showers that develop, especially in the afternoon, but much brighter come Wednesday.
Okay,
Sounds good.
hopefully.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks,
Adam, thanks. And thank you for joining us tonight for Action News at 10. Modern Family is next, followed by Friends.
Now for Shari Williams, Adam Joseph, Deuces Rogers, the entire Action News team, I'm Brian Taff. Hope you have a great night. Great day tomorrow. See you back here 10 o'clock tomorrow night.